Hello, everyone. Welcome to not the morning show, but inside LP, where we're going to be discussing the Disney Destiny. I'm making sure that I spelled everything correctly as it scrolls by me. As you can see, I have two guests with me today. They are not in the order of the names that it says on the screen, but we have Jeremiah
Hi, all.
and Luke.
Hello.
And they both just went to a special showcase they didn't get to see the ship itself. What they did was go to the Wish, which is of course the same class of ship as the Destiny will be, and got to preview some things. And so I'm going to start there. Jeremiah, you've been to events like this before. How did this particular one compare to like the Treasure? I guess the Treasure one.
Well, I did the Wish one also. I'm
Okay.
actually this off because it's getting hot. These are the cool ears and the cool baseball cap.
The cool ears are getting hot.
Well, the baseball.
It's not a McDLT. It's not keeping the cool that cool.
Ooh, old school. This event, as far as events go, this was a completely different event than the other two. We essentially were brought on the ship, taken to the kid zone or the play zone, and then had tables with merch, food, some displays about what the ship will be, like the room numbers, which are really cool.
Those
And
are cool.
then
I can
we
pull
had
those up.
Black Black Panther and Spider-Man
Yes.
at first, and then later on they brought out Superhero Mini, and it was, I want to say it was like a half hour we had in there, and there was not enough time for everything.
Yeah, there was quite a bit going
Yeah.
on, and it was kind of just it felt a little bit like a free for all. It's like here's everything, come and explore it all
Yes.
at your own pace. But I mean, they had a little statuette of the Black Panther statue that will be in the Grand Hall of the Destiny. It's the first time that a Marvel character is being used as the ship's grand statement piece.
And the statue is still brass like the other ones, but they've gone through a process to make Black Panther and the actual T'Challa and the Black Panther next to him black. So it will be black on the ship. And
They said something about purple lighting too.
yeah,
right?
the vibranium
Yeah.
on his shirt, on his costume will
Which
stand out.
that sounds like it's going to be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you can see here. We've seen the Black Panther before. This isn't a sure photo of the one that they had there, but yeah, this is pretty cool. You see Loki up here, and you see he turned everything green. And in the Parks blog thing, and I'm sure they told you this too, that other characters will appear, and it'll be the same sort of 360 lighting and stuff like that. That'll kind of adapt to the character that's coming out, which is pretty cool.
Very different vibes to the ship, which we're on the Wish, because the Wish goes for a very princessy, regal kind of feel, and this feels like it'll be something completely different to the other ships.
And it's even to the treasure, this area where the treasures Agrabah and the Royal Palace. This one is designed almost to be like an LED screen where each character comes out, they can change and do whatever they need to do with the area. But it sounded very interesting, this approach, and they said the chandelier is going to be amazing also.
I'm gonna want to swing from it.
Yes, with my Spidey web.
From the chandelier. I don't want to get too
I
monetized.
knew I would get him to do
Yeah.
that by just mentioning it, so why I think.
So that new artwork was probably one of the big stories. The other one was we also got new art for the Sanctum.
Yeah, this one was, as you pointed out, we knew about this coming, but in my head, this was, this is new.
I think it came down to the way they phrased it too.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was an entirely new announcement that I forgot that it had been announced.
Yeah.
It's been so long, and we've had 3 different ships, so I give you a pass.
Yes. And this is the first time we're actually seeing
4 different ships, actually, if you want to count Wish and the Adventure.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Skipper Society or Tiana's Bayou on the Wish and on the Treasure. And it's very, like, we walked by Tiana's after everything, and I was like, okay, this is closer to the Tiana's feel than it is the Skipper Society feel, because this is kind of more basic, where the Skipper Society has lots of everywhere this is like, oh look, there's the cape, and they pointed out the books that Doctor Strange reads will be on display with that weird like way they hold them. There were some specialty drinks that they gave us a chance to see, but I didn't get a chance to see anything because we were trying to gather as much information as we could.
Yeah, I mean, these drinks here were the ones. I think they're the same ones that they were sampling, right? So one of them, the purple one, is alcoholic. The other one is not alcoholic. They both contain ginger beer.
Yeah.
I think the non-alcoholic one has like a 0 proof cocktail element to it.
That one is the alcoholic version of the non-alcoholic. It looks like.
Okay.
In full fairness, they were both pretty gross.
Yeah.
Well, also, did anyone tell them that this looks like exactly like a bong, and then they still went with like this smoky background for this Parks Blog photo? It's very strange to me.
Yeah, it's
strange. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Hey, Fred Ramirez, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about what we learned about the Disney Destiny, please ask away. We only had, like we said, about an hour and 15 to kind of get all of what we saw between this and the actual presentation about the Hercules show, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had lunch, which was just a 1923 lunch for On the Wish. People were thinking, oh, it's going to be something special. Apparently later tonight we may be sampling some of this.
I was going to say, stay tuned because there is more to come today.
That's the so this is a custard cream, and that's the berry compote stuffed waffle that'll be available at the
custard
Sanctum.
Sounds fantastic.
Where is that going to be? Is that going to be at the Sanctum?
Yeah, that was part of the Sanctum release. Yeah, it's funny because you guys were doing the stuff there and sending some things in, and of course they're posting on the Parks blog at the same time. So it didn't occur to me that you might not have seen some of what was on the Parks blog.
Nope. Anything that you added to our tweets or to Luke's tweets is what we saw, and there were a lot of times where we don't know what's going on because they're pointing us in different directions and just trying to get us around. But I think tonight we're going to learn more about the Lion King show that is going to be the dinner show.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be entertaining, but we have more news gathering opportunities in a few hours.
I did see that on the itinerary. Great phrasing. But let's talk a little bit about Hero Mini. We've seen her on the bow art for the ship, and then you guys got to see her. I said in the flesh, and then I said in the fur.
Yes. She came out. They did a very cute number, which is on our YouTube, I want to say now. I don't know if that got uploaded yet or not.
It's part of the full thing.
And from what we learned was the music that is in the background is going to be the new Disney Destiny song, as I'm sure Dewey will love because it's very hip-hoppy and upbeat.
Because it's bad?
I don't think it was bad. It was
no, it's not as bad as the Disneyland Paris song or the 20.
Doors open, here she comes.
Yes.
And I had seen that bow art before, but I don't think it ever clicked to me that it's supposed to be Superhero Mini.
So we just got back to our room.
Speaking of,
they provide us with some of the merchandise that will be available, and we got the pin set. And this is all the different characters in their superhero forms. I can't wait to see Elasti-Goofy. He'll be fun. The Pluto with the bark is interesting. But really, the only one that matters is Aqueduct Donald, or whatever they're going to call him.
They should call him Aqueduct.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
So are we thinking that it's like Pluto Black Bolt?
Yes. More like Black Canary, but wrong brand.
And Kyle, if you want to bring the screen back up, we have a couple of other merchandise things. Favorite part of the Disney Destiny is kind of hard to say because we haven't seen the Disney Destiny itself yet. But I'm excited for the lounge. I think will be fun. The Doctor Strange lounge.
I'm looking more at the Cruella piano lounge because it seems like they're leaning heavy into Cruella will be there, and then there's also the Maleficent Lounge, where they said she will be there and there will be magic happening. That I forgot about that conversation because that was this morning, like very early.
So my question is, if the Disney Destiny goes west of the Mississippi somehow, does that mean they can't use the Marvel theming?
Don't think it'll go west.
Oh, I don't think it's a theme park. It's probably
but yes, we do have some more merchandise to show off that we were beautifully gifted. If you would like to,
yeah. Give me 1 second as I take care of multitasking business while we stream. Okay, now I'm ready.
So there's this wonderful Loungefly bag that I think people are going to really enjoy, of Superhero Minnie herself.
If you turn around,
Yeah.
there is.
Oh, that's very cool.
Well, we have, since Rebecca's not here, we have to show what's on the inside.
Oh yeah,
and it is more of Superhero Minnie and doing different superhero things.
That's cool.
Yeah, we literally just saw this minutes ago when we came in, and
you boys don't fight over this, okay?
Well, we got this other pin too, which I think is very cool. They handed us this on the ship. It is just of Superhero Minnie around the Destiny.
Very evocative of Captain Marvel and a lot of this, from the color scheme to the kind of poses and things like that.
Well, speaking of, like, this is a better shot of Mickey in his button up that is very, like,
I mean, it also, you get the double entendre with the captain.
Yes. And then the Donald, without the, reverberation bark, you can't really see it right there. It just looks like he's upset. There's no Elastic Goofy on here.
No.
But get it? Seize the day. Reading it backwards, but yeah.
So I think it shows up forwards on on the regular screen, but who knows?
Yeah, no, it does for me, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. Let me see what other things we got going on over here. We've been doing so much this morning while you guys were out there. Let's talk about Hercules. I think we alluded to it. Let's take a look at what we got from that. I know you guys got a special preview. They also released some concept art for that I know was shown on screen, and we got as well. Boom.
Yeah, so this is showing the climactic battle with the Hydra, which is going to be, if you look closely at the concept art, you can see puppeteers puppeting the various heads. And it looks like at least the 5 lower ones are going to be puppeteered by men or women in dark clothing, that sort of way. And then the 2 bigger ones, I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah,
but
I think it's going to be just like Taka, where it's a bigger actual puppet.
Yeah.
And then if you look in the upper corner, you can see Hades and Panic and Pain, which I know people are asking if Panic and Pain will be in this, but yeah, they will as characters. And then of course Hercules is fighting it. The behind the scenes video that they showed us showed some of the workshopping with the Hydra heads, and these are massive.
All right,
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I'll play that in the background while we. Yeah, no, you mentioned Taka, and that reminds me, like, that was the Moana show on the Treasure has been extremely well received, and it seems like they've taken that to heart, and this Hydra reminds me of that. So I think if they're doing that kind of spectacle, I think this will probably be a hit as well, because I know people love Hercules.
Yeah, and there's some work of the heads of the Hydra, but they talked about the Titans also, which will be presumably massive. They were talking about how they're staging and having this. They took inspiration from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that John Legend was in, and it's minimalistic, where it'll be, rafters around the area that will be part of the set. So I think it'll bring a different vibe to the actual Hercules show, and they wanted it to be more modern, which made me laugh because you're taking a Greek story and making it more modern. But sure.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I think the original Hercules was a very '90s
Yes.
modern telling of
Yeah, I don't know if they
it.
have air hercs in an actual.
Yeah. So I think it's the same sort of thing, just kind of taking that '90s vibe away and bringing it to the modern times, which I think is good and different, and a way to make the show stand out from the film itself. Because sometimes some musicals are just very much straight retelling, and that's not as interesting as throwing something in. For example, we're going to get a song, which I cannot remember the name of. Shooting Star, that was written by Alan Menken, and
it was supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in the movie. I don't remember who did the lyrics for Hercules. But Alan Menken was the music writer, and yeah, it was supposed to be in the film, got cut. Now you're going to be able to enjoy it on the Seven Seas.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a change to the music. It'll still be all the original stuff we love from the animated feature. So as somebody who's loved Hercules since it came out, I'm so excited for this. This and the stage show in London opening at the same time-ish will be very interesting with this Hercules resurgence.
Yeah. And we do have that full panel that you guys got to see, both this one and the generic one, but the Hercules one. And then we also have the star of the show, Corey Bradford, is going to be playing Hercules. He did Go the Distance for you guys, and I would show that, but I want something to be monetized today. So you can go check that out on our YouTube. I'll show.
Jeremiah will now do a new version of it.
No. We had a feeling that something was going to happen, because they kept talking about how this will be the first time we can ever record something in the Walt Disney Theater. And they put the stars up and the music started slowly, and we're all like, where is he coming from? And he walked down the aisle doing this very thoughtful, and then walked up and just blew the crowd away. It was amazing.
And Go the Distance is one of those songs that always impresses.
If you can't have Roger Burt do it, you can at least have Corey do it.
What about Michael Bolton?
Nope.
Okay.
On my way to the legend of Jack Sparrow.
Is there anything else from the Destiny you wanted to talk about before I segue us into? Well, actually, let's look at some. We got merch and we got a la mode treats. Which do you want to talk about first?
Go with the treats.
Okay. You're like, I haven't seen these. I might have eaten them and I don't even know it.
No, they had them all out for us, and we took pictures, and they kept encouraging people to eat them, but they were these are not.
Yeah, they were big.
Yeah, and it wasn't a hey, grab this and just enjoy it. Even though I would have grabbed definitely each one. That would have been a nice cupcake to go carry.
I was too full from the breakfast that I had to think about consuming a cupcake.
Well, we have these apparently very large cupcakes. Yeah. These little sandwich things.
Yeah, like
cookie sandwich.
Yeah. They were all very cute.
And it's the same. So on the Wish they have the Zootopia themed, or is it Inside Out?
Inside Out.
It's Inside Out on the Wish,
Zootopia.
and on the Treasure, it's the Zootopia themed sweet shop. So these are probably extra pay.
Yes.
So these are ones that aren't included with your cruise fare, but where you find
haven't seen that art.
Yeah, no, they didn't show that art to us while we were there. But you'll be able to go in and enjoy these sweets over by Marceline's Market on board.
Here's descriptions of them. Violet's cupcake with purple velvet sponge cake and white chocolate mousse and a purple mirror glaze, sprinkles and chocolate decor. The Mr. Incredible double chocolate fudge cake with chocolate truffle mousse, dark chocolate velvet finish, gold confetti, and chocolate decor. The Edna a la mode one, vanilla marble sponge cake with white chocolate mousse, red mirror glaze, sprinkles, and chocolate decor. And the Elastigirl one, orange almond cake with raspberry mousse, orange chocolate velvet finish, sprinkles, and chocolate decor.
To show you how live we are in the field, Jeremiah and I are in our room at the Contemporary Resort, and we just got a phone call. Could be very beautiful. I don't know what's
Luke was born in the 90s, so he's very frightened right now.
I know, the phone rang, and I was like, what is that?
Shortbread cookie is what the Edna sandwich cookie is. That looks very good. I want that.
Yeah, it
And then
all
some
looked
chocolate
amazing.
squares.
Those looked really good because those are sizable chocolate chunks. The M&Ms, I just wanted to try all of it, but again, we had no time and we were all very full.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then finally, let's take a look at the merchandise. Some of this will probably be repeats of what you guys already showed us, but looks like a rain jacket, a Spirit jersey, of course.
Yeah, I mean they had a lot. They had
Different
a lot
Loungefly.
of play, but
Yeah.
even so, there's more. Like I don't think we saw that.
Well, it was an inaugural sailing, so why would you?
Yeah, the Pandora charms they had out to display. The shirt, it's funny, like that black shirt, the men's shirt, one of the cast members came out, was like, you should be wearing that. It's like, sure, give it to me.
I was gonna say gladly.
Ooh, I like that's pretty cool looking. It's like
a lot of gold motif. Like there was the
Oh,
ship
I like
rep-
this is like gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's a photo of that in these
Ooh.
this set of merchandise, but there is a gold version of the ship.
Okay, if not, then I know I saw your tweet, so I will pull that
Yeah,
up.
which looks really cool.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's sizable.
I would.
I'm sure it's very affordable.
Well, yeah, I would love to buy that.
I know they did one of those. I think this will be the third because I know they did one for the Wish and the Treasure. I collect the Grand Hall statues, and I thought, like, I'm glad I do that because those are massive boxes.
Well, the Grand Hall ones are smaller. They're relatively affordable, I would say. They're a decent souvenir to have from your travels.
I asked if I could just take the one that they had on display, the Black Panther. They said no. Very rude.
Who would have thought?
Well, anything else about the Destiny?
No. I mean, the Destiny starts sailing in November. Yeah, so it's coming up pretty quick. I mean, they were mentioning this morning that it's only been a few months since the Treasure opened, first set sail, and we're already onto the Destiny. And on the other side of the world, we've got the Adventure as well.
Yeah.
Which, just like the Treasure, is also themed to adventure.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
But if you guys are interested, you can definitely head over to MEI Travel and book anything you want with any of the ships or resorts or anything else that is related to travel.
You were too quick for Kyle to get.
I know.
To,
I'm always.
to get it that.
I feel like if I start talking, you guys should just have that button ready at this point.
mousefantravel.com/laughingplace. But Luke, you just returned from Disneyland Paris.
I did.
And Jeremiah, you're got one other trip to make before going to Disneyland Paris. So let's talk about what Paris did over the weekend. Where should we start, Luke?
Over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean that there was a lot going on at Paris. They did a whole presentation in Studio D at Walt Disney Studios Park, which will soon be Disney Adventure World, and they showcase a lot of the changes that are going to be coming. So they showed concept art for the new Lion King attraction, the first look at the show scene, which looks really cool. I mean, they're going to just be, you're going to be going through, it's going to be like you're going through like the How Do You Do section, or what is it now, going down the bayou on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but instead it's going to be Hakuna Matata, and I get such similar vibes from that. I don't know how I feel about the 3 across seating on a log ride, but
well, one of the things, as I think all of us know, Paris gets really cold. That's why they've never had a Jungle Cruise ride, because it would freeze over. So if you go to the main concept of the actual mountain, the drop almost looks like it's less of an incline, more of just kind of a slide down. So I'm guessing it's designed to be less
and maybe
splashy.
maybe there won't even be an exterior part other than that drop out the mountain. But let's see, what else did they announce? They announced so much. A brand new Up attraction, I think.
Which sounds very cool until you look at it.
So
Orange Stinger was a great ride.
But it's not Orange Stinger, it's Silly Symphony Swings, because it's not in a big orange.
It is closer to Silly Symphony Swings. So we got explained a little bit about it, because I was able to take a construction tour of not only Inside World Premiere, which we'll talk about in a minute, but also up to Disney Adventure Way and Adventure Bay, which is where this is going to be located. So if you're familiar with the layout of the park, as you exit Studio One, which will soon be World Premiere, straight ahead is going to be this big long road called Adventure Way, which will lead back to Adventure Bay. Now, along Adventure Way, their idea is to have like lots of different gardens inspired by Disney themes. So there's going to be before you get to the attractions, there's going to be like a United Kingdom themed garden, which is going to have a gazebo kind of out of Mary Poppins and various different inspirations there. They said they're going to have a bench with Winnie the Pooh on it, where you're going to be able to sit next to Winnie the Pooh. There's going to be a Toy Story garden, which will kind of serve as a segue into Toy Story Playland off of that main thing. And then the two attractions that are going to be along there, the first one that is already announced and under construction is called Rapunzel Tangled Spin. It's a teacup style ride. And what they said is that it's going to, instead of being like you're in the world of Tangled, you're in our design motif of Adventure Bay that just happens to feature those characters. So it's working the general design motif that they've come up with and working those characters in. And I think it's really good. I think it's good to have these like extra attractions that can help with capacity, number one, and just serve as a nice little addition. So like the Rapunzel ride has a tiny little lake in front of it with a boat, like out of the lantern scene, and behind it there's a garden, and I feel like the up attraction will probably have similar things too, but that will be coming later. They said that when it all opens next year, that little section where the up ride is going will be behind walls, because that won't open till a year or two later. It takes a long time to build silly symphony swings.
I guess so. Jeez.
Well, and that's a whole other, to go along with the weather. The first thing I thought of when I saw this was, it's freezing 4 months out of the year in Paris. Do you really want to get on a swings ride that spins you around pretty fast?
Honestly, going back, like I went to Parc Asterix a couple of years ago, which is just down the street from Disneyland Paris. It's only a few miles away, and they have that ride. They have a log flume. They have like a splash battle type ride. They have all of those things. So, I think you can have those rides there. And then, if there's time when they can't be open, like if they were to have a Jungle Cruise thing, but then at the same point, you can have Storybook Land outside. So why not Jungle Cruise? I don't know.
And you mentioned world premiere, what was Studio One. We got another peek inside there. You got to see basically this in real life, but
minus all that construction equipment, because there wasn't quite as much as that there. But yeah, we were able to go inside, and if you are familiar with Studio One, basically imagine that everything off to your left as you enter is the same as it was before. Before it was set up as facades of Hollywood, but now they've completed those buildings to make it feel like you're actually in Hollywood. And then the right side, where the restaurant was and still is located, is now going to be a garden where you're going to a premiere, and they're having a restaurant set up there. And then also, I was mentioning to you earlier, Jeremiah, but this right here is where, off to the left, is where the Searchlight kiosk is going to be. So
this is heading out towards the back of the actual park.
So the idea is that as you're heading under the Disney Theater world premiere, you are entering into the world of the movies, and that is your gateway in. If you do
unless you're in the Adventure Way, which is not themed to the movies, it's just themed to the world that they built with the movies. And
it's the transfer to the world of the themed movies. They said something about it, and
oh, I can't hear you guys suddenly. Was that me? Can you guys hear me? I don't know if. Hello. Fred, can you hear me, or can you hear them, or neither? Um, that did not work. Sorry about this. If anyone can, we hear Kyle. Thank you, Nikki. Very helpful. So now I can stop acting like I'm crazy and figure out why I can't hear them and message them to tell them I can't hear them. So we'll see if they can figure that out. Do 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 do. Still can't hear you. Not that you can hear me. This might be the end of the stream. Well, if you missed anything, we did talk about the Disney Destiny earlier in the stream. Now we were just talking about Paris just because, and then I stopped being able to hear them, and now they're gone. So I'll sit here and talk to myself for a good moment and see if when they come back, then we can hear them. This is Inside LP is constantly having problems to deal with. Hey, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, we're back.
It just went out in the middle of your sentence, and I couldn't tell if I did something like muted my sound.
We could not hear you at all. No idea. Technology, man.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you guys were talking for quite a while.
So the next thing I was going to say is, so if you're standing, looking at that view of the World Premiere Theater, make a 180-degree turn, there is a cool facade of the Burbank Studios, and there's going to be like little animators desks in there that you could see out the windows. So that'll be your view as you're exiting the park.
I saw pictures of it. Will the animators be animated so it looks like they're actually moving, or is it going to be?
Or they actually be making a movie like Goofy movie, or? Oh no, I think I lost them again. Is it when I talk over them? Is that what I break it? Well, I don't know. I'll message them again. Well, I will show you while I try to figure that out. This is a model that will be debuting. Whoa, 2 angles. I was just going to say, I don't know what happened, but I was going to show, as we're talking about the layout of the park, this is Adventure Way would be this, and then leading up to this is like World of Frozen, the Lion King ride, Toy Story's over here, Avengers is over here, and this is the inside the building we were just looking in.
Yes. So, and that really doubles the size of the park. Like it is walking that length, all the way. Well, we didn't go all the way back to Frozen, but even just to the front of the lake, the park feels so much bigger than it did before, and it really is going to make it feel like more of a complete experience.
And it's going to connect Avengers Campus around the back behind Tower that's been the dead end, and then the theater. The
same with Cars Road Trip.
Yeah.
You'll be able to access that right off the lagoon in the back.
So it'll bring a flow to the park that really has never existed, because I was there when it used to be the Tran Tour, and it was you went left, you went right, or you went straight, and none of it connected.
Yeah.
But then over at the other park, they're also going to be making updates to not the rivers of America, but the rivers of the far west.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know what they said in the official release about it, but the Imagineer that I spoke to about it said that these updates won't be coming this summer while the refurbishment is underway. But I don't know if that's 100% correct, but that seemed to be what he was saying. But they're going to add some new scenes, similar to what they've done at Disneyland in recent years, that are inspired by some classic Mark Davis, Disney legend Mark Davis drawings. And this seems like such a really cool, nice tribute, and something that they definitely don't have to do, but they're doing anyway.
Give you a reason to ride the Molly Brown around and see these new things. I'm sure some of it will be a view from the train. I haven't looked at the map that close, but I feel like this could be taking over the geyser area by Phantom Manor, because that has always been problematic. Then they can just put that nice tranquil waterfall or something over there.
But yeah, so they're changing that. And being in Frontierland during this past trip was really kind of sad because Big Thunder was closed, the Molly Brown was closed, so it really just felt like Phantom Manor, and that's it.
Uh, Phantom Manor and loaded Doritos.
Yes, that is not a bad thing. That is not a bad
Just
thing.
the Phantom Manor.
Just
but-
Phantom Manor.
No, and loaded Doritos.
Yes. Did you
Yes.
use loaded Doritos, or did you also interact with the citizens of Frontierland? Were they
So
out?
number one, I wouldn't eat loaded Doritos. That is outside of my palate. And number two, non-Zanny.
Okay, because I've seen other sites, Main Street and Frontierland have brought in some citizens, much like there used to be at Magic Kingdom and Disney's Hollywood Studios that are in theme, but there was never an official announcement, so it may have just been a test.
I know they had like a grand opening ceremony for the reimagined Boardwalk Candy Palace. And I checked it in the morning because I knew it was opening that day. I checked it in the morning. I went back, checked it again, and I went back to my hotel. And then while I was there, it's like, yeah, now it's open. So I missed that, unfortunately. But we do have pictures of the Boardwalk Candy Palace, which is reopened and looks lovelier than ever.
Sponsored by M&M's.
Yes.
Yes. One last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up is you got to see a preview of the Disney Music Hits concert, aka Daft Monk.
Daft Monk, and I really hope that's what they call them.
I mean, I already hashtagged it on our video, so
and Daft Punk are French, so it makes so much sense.
That's exactly why. Yeah. I mean, they don't look that much like Daft Punk, like a little bit. They don't have the full helmets because you wouldn't do that with well-known characters. You want to make sure that people recognize them. But yeah, Daft Monk, absolutely perfect joke.
So this show was interesting. It's taking place for the Disney Music Festival, which starts on April 19th, which Jeremiah will be covering for us here at Laughing Place. But we got a chance to preview one of the shows, and this is at the Videopolis stage. So it's the main restaurant inside Discoveryland where the giant airship is. As a kid, I used to think it was a giant pencil because it kind of looks like a pencil. But yeah, so they had the performers. They were saying a few different medleys. So they did like a 90s medley. They did a love medley. They did a modern medley. There was an original song.
They were hitting each of the different stages because each of the stages will have different feels to it. I don't know.
I didn't really understand. It seemed like this was just a full show that's going to play here. I don't know if it's something that's going to go around the park and be separated.
So
this just seemed like a show.
Are they actually playing the instruments, or is it just?
Yes, they are. They're playing, or it seemed like they were playing the instruments.
I mean, that's a lot of people to not be playing.
Yeah, but the show kind of came to an end when Chip and Dale or Tic et Tac came out, and started doing this weird DJ set, and it was cute, but it kind of just messed up the vibes of the show. And then they came back out for like a reprise of the main theme to end the show, and it was like, all right, here's all of these singers, and then Chip and Dale randomly come out and do this whatever they're doing for 5 minutes, and then
I think they're playing their hit Around the Squirrel.
That would have been better. I thought yeah, I wasn't. It also this was taking place at like 11:30 at night, and I was exhausted from traveling, so perhaps that might have interrupted my enjoyment of it.
How this actually turns out.
Yeah.
Marshall said that song is from their album Random Acorn Memories.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
We'll have a whole list by the time the show opens next week, so that Jeremiah could just be tweeting Daft Punk puns.
Yeah.
while watching. I mean, this, without hearing it, it looks fun. Like it's just fun just to stare at. But I don't know if I want to watch it.
I would totally get into it. Also, it's still the seats, right? This is like you're sitting watching this on stage. It's not an open dance floor like
no, yeah, there's still seats, yeah.
That seems like a loss because Videopolis originally was that lower level was open, and then you had seats coming back. So You'd think for a music festival, you don't just sit, but
Well, it's
Yeah,
also
with-
funny coming
but-
from Disneyland Paris, where they have traditionally had a legit EDM festival in the
Yes.
park.
Yeah, and it's crazy they still have something called Videopolis all these years later.
Yeah.
well, is the Rockworks still all there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Random.
The restaurant is called Cafe Hyperion,
Yeah.
but the stage is called Videopolis.
And it's in the Hyperion Theater. No.
The stage is Hyperion. The restaurant is Cafe Hyperion, and the stage is Videopolis. Very confusing.
Anyway. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about before we go ahead and wrap up on this busy Monday?
No, I think this, as of now, this will be it. Definitely keep an eye out for tweets and more videos and stuff coming later. We have really no clue what we're in store for later on, but we've been warned there will be some fun
promised-
stuff.
Promise some new
Yeah.
exciting reveals and such. So
Well, I'll look forward to it as the only person working.
I was gonna say, I don't know if "look forward" is the right word for Kyle Burbank.
Nope, not today. But thank you all for joining us. I don't think we'll end up having a morning show tomorrow. I might try to do one later this week. It's just difficult with half the people gone and people traveling all over the world.
We got
But
Star Wars
hopefully we'll get
Celebration
there.
coming up this weekend, so
Yeah,
Hey,
we might do wrap-up
Hong Kong
shows or something.
Disneyland 20th anniversary media events coming up in a day and a half.
Yeah. And Jeremiah will be there for about 12 hours. So you can look forward to his 12 hours of coverage after a 15-hour flight. And
see how
Anyway.
much of it makes sense.
thank you all for watching. We will see you soon enough.
Bye, all.